Hi, this is Reatha Butler with Garrett Residential Brokerage here in Colorado Springs. One more installment of a new platform I'm trying to take advantage of, and that's to really educate by way of video. Today we're talking about permits in El Paso County, Colorado. I'm not going to get on the specifics of how to apply for a permit or what you do, but I will give you some resources as I'm speaking, so have a pen and paper ready. Today we're talking about permits in terms of the importance of them. I typically represent sellers here, so I do a lot of marketing of homes. One of the things in our discovery process is whether certain things are permitted or not. If they're not permitted, if a permit has not been pulled on something, I will typically find out that in the early stages. And as a result, I will ask my sellers oftentimes, hey, go get a permit pull. You need to call regional building down here. Have them look at that so that they can go ahead and tell you if they can actually put a permit on it or approve a permit, or if there's some additional things to be done. So that is kind of the preliminary stage. And what I often hear back from my seller is, oh, I don't need a permit on that. Or I did that at a great standard. I did a good job at that. That's what I used to do when I used to work, or that's what I used to do. I totally understand. But one of the philosophies that I have is somewhere along the line, somebody's going to pay for that permit. And if you're considering selling a home, if you are considering selling your home, you may have the ideal, I'm going to be in this home forever, for perpetuity. However, things do change. If you are considering selling a home, it is time for you to look around your home, think about the improvements that you've made or improvements that you've hired third-party contractors to make on your home, and verify that the permit has been pulled. The burden of a permit is really on the seller. So a couple of things, you get permits for construction, electrical, plumbing and heating type of things. And these are a lot of times, and any structural changes you're going to make, add-ons, remodels, and a new bathroom. You may not have to get a permit on a pergola that's detached, but you will have to get the permit on that sunroom or that outdoor living space that's adjoining your house or attached to your house. There's so many different things that may need a permit. And the reason why we do that, or reason why it is done, is to save zoning laws, to be able to track what's going on in industry, safety, to make sure that you're safe, that the product that you're getting built on, the thing that you're doing is safe. So there's a lot of reasons why we do that. Land use is another reason. You may think you have 900 acres and you can do whatever you want to, but if those come under the county regulations, you may have to get a permit for that shed. You may have to get a permit for that bedroom addition. Okay, so I just want to really encourage people to take that next level of due diligence and pull a permit. Pikes Peak Regional Building Department is the local for El Paso County. So when you reach out to them by way of the web, they have amazing information out there. They kind of give you some guidelines. And what I love most is they have a resource out there of different builders and contractors in the area that may have gotten on the naughty list. So you may not want to work with them, or you may inquire, hey, what happened to you here? So capture this website, www.pprBD, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department. Search for existing permits on your house. Go ahead and put your address in there, and you may find that that person who called you after this last storm and put that wonderful roof on your property and told you they're going to pull a permit, they may have not pulled a permit because it is a little extra incremental cost. So the burden is on you as Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller. I need to make sure that my permit is being pulled. So you would go to that site, type in your address, and you may find, God, that builder, that roofer never pulled a permit. Well, you want to find them quickly, because you don't want to look up a year or two from now and find out that they're no longer around. So if that's their MO, how they operate, and they don't pull permits, they don't finish the job properly, first indicator, you may not want to be friends with them, right? So I'm just encouraging you to look around you and just, if you go to that website, it'll teach you how to start the process. It'll allow you to investigate or research what permits have been pulled on your property. So if you got an AC unit installed in 2019, and you did, and you look back and the only AC unit on your property is at origin 2020, mid-2000, the year 2000, then hey, I need to contact that vendor, right, that AC person, and make sure they complete the permitting process. If they're gone, you can't find them anymore, Now it's the burden is on you to go down to regional building, contact them and let them know you have an existing AC. Your intent was to have it permitted and you found out it wasn't. So once again, regional building is at Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, PP, Pikes Peak, Regional R, Building BD Department, okay? Like I said, the burden is on you and the responsibility is fully yours as a seller. So you'll get left holding the bag. I had one situation, I'm not going to belabor this, where beautiful basement, wonderful place when you walked in visually, it was really thought out. Fast forward years later, that basement did not have a permit pulled. You take the personality of my buyer, not my buyer, but the buyer, you take my seller who had good intent. Now they are pushing, going to regional building, trying to get the permit pulled. Well, no, sorry. We're going to have to come down and check your basement and see, what's happening there when they get down there because of changes in the building code. Now you're dealing with electrical, you're dealing with some other facets. Now the basement construction, regional building had no issues with that. It's just the change of code. So had that basement been permitted or had met compliance the years that it was built, no harm, no foul. Well, that will hold up the sale because the buyer personality was, I need this to be permanent. I don't want to get stuck with this. So fast forward, we get through the electrical, but now we realize that we have a ceiling clearance issue. So now the ceiling won't clear. It's supposed to be 6 feet or a little bit above 6 feet. I can't remember directly, specifically. No, it doesn't have enough clearance. We were able to continue the sale, convey the property to the new owner only because we went down and got a variance. And so the variance is when they don't always, you can't assume that you're going to have a variance, but a variance becomes important when the regional building or the parties that be decide that, it's too much of a structural issue. In this case, we would have needed a architect, we would have needed electrician, we needed excavation, we would have needed so many different things to make that clearance now comply with what was required for regional building. So then paperwork is filled out, we pursue it. They have a small hearing of a small board of people or group of people who see the situation, and of course they know probably cost prohibitive to make this overhead clearance compliant. So they gave a variance. Now what you have is a situation where that house can be conveyed year upon year upon year, whenever the person decides to sell it, without having to argue this particular situation. So variances are a part of the process. So if you find that you're in a difficult situation, that's something that you knew was there, and in order to make it right is going to be very cost prohibitive, that may be an opportunity to pursue a variance. I don't think they come easy, right? But I do think it's something to consider. So in other words, all is not lost. So another good point I want to tell, well, you may tell me, well, I'm a DIY. I do it myself all the time. That's good. So a couple of things with that, because I have been impressed by some of my clients who are just crafty. I mean, they know how to do construction. They know how homes work. So they decide that they're going to go ahead and build out their own basement. They decide they're going to put their own roof on. This is their experience. Two people there. One, the crafts person who's just talented. And the second is the person who's the homeowner. Future buyer may not really care that you really know how to do this. All future buyer wants to know is that it's permitted and that regional building has looked at it. So the seller I love, the craftsman part of the homeowner I love too, but I have to let them know, take the next step. If the product that you built out or what you did is of standard, then regional building will basically see the same. And if it's within compliance with the code and the zoning and the building code, I should say, then they'll agree, right? Or if it's not, now you get to see, I need to change this up. Do not sit on your ability when it comes to a permit, because somewhere along the line, once again, someone's going to pay for that permit. And I pray, or not really pray, I desire not for it not to be you, but at the same time, if you can mitigate it and get it done, go get it done. So yeah, you may be very, very hands-on. You may be able to do it, but that doesn't negate the permit. The next thing is if you decide to do a permittable task yourself, document it. Draw up the plans that you use. Draw up where you put the receptacles, where you put the electrical boxes, how you did the switches, where the beams are. Do everything properly. And I never advocate you not getting it permit. I want to make that clear. But do everything in your power to go ahead and document for the future buyer or prospective inspector that has to look at it, and have it documented and keep a hold of it. Peace of mind, because in the future, once you have, I'm really talking to sellers really, but buyers can pick up some tidbits. Once you have your property or whatever it is that you built out, a new bathroom, you didn't get it permitted, a basement that you finished, you didn't get it permitted, I always want you to permit the product. That's what I would love for you to do it. But if you didn't realize, a couple of things are going to happen. One, you have to have a situation where you have peace of mind. Okay, so that's documentation. The other thing, you're going to be required to disclose. My basement is not permitted. Or if you don't disclose it, the inspector, if they're worth their salt, or the buyer, they're going to come in, they're going to pull some information prior to coming there. They're going to know that that basement is not permitted. Hey, why don't we try? They're going to tell their buyer, this property is not permitted. This deck is not permitted. This roof hasn't been permitted. This water heater has not been done. This AC, it could be a myriad of things. So whatever it is, make sure you have the documentation and properly disclose. Okay, so if you're unsure, go ahead and disclose. And I always say it's driven by buyer personnel. You can be in certain states and nobody expects a permit. That buyer can be coming from another state where they don't really care about it. That buyer can be just as handy as you are, so they don't see a problem. If there's anything that happens to it, they'll take care of it. What I'm cautioning on is at least have the wherewithal. I should permit it. If I do not pull a permit for this property, the potential is this. I could probably win or I can probably lose, right? Just have the mindset, but do not do. And a lot of people don't pull permits because they're concerned about the cost of them. The cost relative, if you're doing a new basement and you've enjoyed it for 5 or 10 years, the cost is worth it, okay? And I always say, like I said, someone will always pay. Someone will pay for that permit. I don't want it to be my seller if I'm representing the seller. And I definitely don't want it to be my buyer if I'm representing the buyer. So as a realtor here in Colorado Springs, I'm going to advocate for my seller to, one, disclose, provide supporting documents, actually pursue, first and foremost, pursue a permit. But if that becomes cost prohibitive for any reason, I'm going to ask them to properly disclose it, okay? It's cheaper today than it will be tomorrow. So if you if you fail to do a permit today, which you may think, oh my God, it's exorbitant. I don't want to pay that $200 for that improvement I made, or whatever it might be. It's going to cost more next time. So if you're called to do it in 4 or 5 years, it's going to be more than $200. It's going to be about time, building code changes, all kinds of things, right? So I really encourage you. And that's pretty much it. People, I've just started this video process and I need to work on my time. But as I continue to grow in this process, I hope to relay the knowledge that I've accumulated for 12, almost 15 years, coming from a corporate background, getting to real estate. I understand business and I appreciate business. And I want you to have a mindset when you're talking about your homes. It is about business, okay? So sellers, feel free to give me a call. Company, Ashley Garrett Residential Brokerage. My phone number is 719-200-6940. Not going to listen to this again because I don't want to try to go for perfection right now. But I am on your side. I am here. Questions, or ask me a question. If I have a good answer for you, a valid answer, an answer you can run with, an answer you can trust, I will give it to you. If I don't really know the subject, I'll research it. I have enough experience on it, So have a blessed day. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes just by signing off now. Thank you.